Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you guys here on this Thursday, the 21st. Thank you for tuning in. Anyway, the Russians, they're taking a lot of hits across the border from Ukraine, right close to Ukraine. Sustained Ukrainian artillery has been hitting them, and drone strikes deep inside Russian territory. It says the Russian border region's being pounded by Ukrainian shelling and drones and is expanding its closure of schools in that region of Russia and colleges. Major evacuation plans, authorities announced Wednesday. Ukraine's forces, Kiev's forces, extended their campaign of long-range strikes that aim to put the Kremlin under pressure. Ukraine lacks ammunition supplies along the 1,000-kilometer front, 620-mile front line, because of a shortfall promised. They had promised Western supplies. It's forcing the army to take more defensive stance, but at the same time it's attacking oil facilities deep inside Russia and seeking to unnerve Russian border regions. I imagine they are. But I was worried that this situation would expand and cause Russia to but it seems like it's one of those situations where they are actually attacking Russia on their own front, right in Russian territory. Ukraine is, and it's very interesting how this would be beyond the regular front line, further to the east. Now, I'm going to talk about something toward the end of this show. I'm going to talk about the first interstellar visitor. Interstellar means it came from outside our solar system. It came to visit us. Something. I'm going to talk about that. And but first, we're going to go over the markets right now. The silver price is at $24.70. It's down 82 cents on the day. So, silver's down today. Cryptocurrency market today, Bitcoin is at 666.81. So it's 66,681 today. Ethereum is at 300. Now it's at 6666. Look at that. 5 sixes. Anyway, Ethereum's at 35.25, and we're looking at XRP at 63.3 cents. Now, the Dow Jones Industrial Average today is at 39,831. It's up 319 points. So equities are doing good. Right now it's just taking a bounce, the highest ever. Almost, oh my goodness, almost 40,000. Just shy of 40,000 on Dow. Isn't that something? Taking a look at crude oil today is at $80.86. It's down 41 cents on the day, or 0.5%. Taking a look at bonds and rates today. We're looking at U.S. Treasury yields falling, except for the middle of the yield curve here. So the 10-year is going up a little bit. It's at 4.28 today, and the U.S. 30-year is at 4.45, and it's going down a little bit. Now, taking a look at the U.S. dollar index, is at 104.01. The U.S. dollar index. The dollar's going up today, strengthening. You know, I'm going to tell you guys, let me see if I can get this animation. Now, turn the sound off. Where's the expand? I want to expand, but every time I click on it, it disappears. Okay. Everything that they've done of Oumuamua Now, if you don't know what Oumuamua is, it's the first thing that's come into our solar system from outside our solar system. It's traveling at an incredible rate of speed, like 200,000 miles per hour. And it is an object that, what's the best way I can describe the shape of the thing? Let me see if we got pictures here. It's, okay, I might have to track all the way up to the top here in order to find the pictures to show the shape of this thing. Now, what they did was they've made artist conceptions, but the general shape is this, like a big cigar type shape. You see images here, okay? Artists have drawn conceptions, a lot of conceptions. Like behind my head there, you know, these are all artist conceptions, and a different artist conception behind my head there. But they're all getting the same general shape. Some of them are making it look more rocky than others. The artists, this artist was really good at making that shape look rocky. And this one's actually good at making it look more like a flying saucer, the shape. This one makes it look more like a ship behind my head, you know. It all depends on what the artist wants to do with it. But in all of these artist depictions, they're always making it look like the general shape that they see through the telescope. They can't make out fine details when they look at something through a telescope from that long ways away. All they can see is the general shape. So they give us the general shape of it, right? But artists have taken that and they've used liberties to make it look like, well, that's what we think it is, particularly when they draw it so it looks like a big rock. Of course, that could be what they want to see, is that it's a big rock. But there's an awful lot of things about this they cannot account for. One of the things is the acceleration. I was listening to a show about it this morning, and they said that, no, this thing's not producing a tail behind it or anything. Like a lot of things, like when you have a comet streaking through, you know, heading around the sun, it shoots out a tail of dust that comes off of it. The tail might be thousands of kilometers long. There's no tail behind this thing, but yet the scientists are saying, well, how's it accelerating? And they're trying to come up with these reasons how it could accelerate. And they're saying, well, maybe gas is jetting out from it. But wouldn't that make a tail? And there's no tail. Not only that, the color. There's certain colors that you do not see much in nature. And this artist depiction behind my head, they're trying to make it look reddish. That's because this thing's, I guess, is bright red. It's been painted red. It's a red spaceship. That's what I think it is. This is personally my opinion. Why is it so hard? Why is it so hard for us to it's easy for us to theorize that there's life out there. They got the Drake equation, and everybody that sits around and thinks about it for a while, scientists or whatever, they say, well, there must be life out there. We can't be the only life in the universe. The universe is so vast, and so on. You know? But then when it comes down to the real possibility that something might be a spacecraft from someplace else, and it's exhibiting evidence that's hard to deny, they're like, no, it can't be. It can't be. It's for some reason, it's hard for us to accept. Even though we theorize that the probability is extremely high that there's life out there, but for some reason, when it comes down to the point of accepting that, no, it's not a theory anymore, this is actually life out there, we go into denial. As I'm talking as a species. But what I'm saying about this thing is, is it's a color that's not something that you see naturally in nature. Something that's been painted red. Something that's red. I'd say painted red. Well, maybe it is actually paint. I mean, but it's also the speed. The thing is traveling at a speed of 200,000 miles an hour. And it's accelerating. It's got some ability whereby it can accelerate its speed. It's got thrust of some sort or another, conventional or otherwise. And think about that kind of speed. Our scientists out there have worked very vigorously to try to obtain speed, because they've thought of that. We thought, well, we're going to go to Mars, right? We want to go to Mars. How long is it going to take us to get there? We don't want it to take a whole lifetime to get there. If we can go a little bit faster, maybe we can get to Mars. And so they've thought of that, and they've been working on that. They've been working on speed in space, speed on the Earth. They always want to make planes go faster so that you can get to your destination quicker. Speed is all the way up from the young hot rodders out there that are working on their cars to make their cars go a little bit faster, all the way up within government circles to spacecraft to make them go faster, and working on thrust and propulsion systems. So how fast have we been able to go with all of that work that we've done? We're not able to go 200,000 miles an hour, so we've got the highest science that we have in thrusters and ion propulsion and you name it out there. And we're not able to achieve that kind of speed. So you're telling me that something in nature that has a thrust that's just some steam coming out of a rock is going to be able to do better than our most sophisticated science and propulsion systems that we have to make this thing go 200,000 miles an hour? That we're not able to attain those kind of speeds, but somehow a rock is able to do it? And what really gets me about this thing is the shape. This is what really gets me about this thing. It is shaped like a spacecraft. It's a long cigar-shaped object that you can see through the telescopes. And what's more is, I picked up this article a couple months ago. Dare say if I could find it again, it seems to have disappeared off the internet. Where it said that Oumuamua, I don't know why they named it such an uproarious name anyway. It's Oumuamua, that's it, Oumuamua. I'm sorry, but the silliest name in the world they could pick for it. Oumuamua in these articles is not the only one. I picked up some articles a couple months ago that there was either 2 or 3 more of them. Now, we didn't have any interstellar travelers that came from outside the solar system into the solar system. We never had it before. And all of a sudden, Oumuamua appears, right? And it's shaped like a rocket ship. I'm hearing that Oumuamua is returning, but not only is it returning, that more are coming in to our solar system. Picked up articles a couple months ago, and now I can't find them any longer. They've disappeared. Seems like they've disappeared. It's got me thinking, sitting there thinking about it. What if this thing is about 5 times the size of an aircraft carrier? Our big aircraft carriers like the Nimitz class aircraft carriers can carry 5,000 men. They're enormous. They're the size of a city. Well, this thing's about 5 times bigger. If it's a spacecraft, it can travel 200,000 miles an hour through space. What if those are troops on board? If it's 5 times the size of an aircraft carrier, and our aircraft carriers can carry 5,000 crew, well, that mean it could carry 25,000 And I mean, just theorizing about it for a minute more, I mean, if these are alien fighters, what could they be capable of? Could it be something like out of a sci-fi movie, say The Predator? How would we cope with 25,000 predators? You know, I mean, if they had that kind of ability, high-tech weaponry and stuff. You just don't know what's on board. Maybe they're not even, maybe they're peaceful. I mean, it's the unknown about all this. Also, is there laws in place? If there is life out there around us, say on other planets and stuff, well, maybe they've got together and established peace between those planets and formed some sort of an arrangement. It might be more like Star Trek than you'd think. In Star Trek, you know, they had this thing where they would come across a planet that didn't know about them. Maybe they'd beam down. Captain Kirk would beam down to a world or whatever, you know, and he'd come down to a planet where they didn't know about the Federation of Planets or whatever, Star Trek's, you know. They didn't know about Kirk or anything like that. They would try to avoid disturbing the people on that planet in a negative way. They had some sort of a law, a non-interference law, so that they wouldn't interfere in lesser planets that were trying to develop. And you know, maybe something like that does exist, and maybe that's why we see these objects, but they don't interfere, and they try to remain elusive and invisible from us. But think about it for a minute. What if a planet that they're observing, but they're non-interfering with, starts to develop nuclear weapons and threatens to annihilate itself? If they're monitoring a planet like that, perhaps they would know the point where the planet was getting ready to basically commit global suicide and blow themselves all up. They would know. And maybe they would want to send some sort of a reconnaissance there of some sort or another. I'm just theorizing about all this, you know. To do more than just observe, possibly, because at a certain point, if their policies might be that of non-interference, with exceptions. Maybe the exceptions have to do with the use of nuclear weapons or something like that, you know. And maybe that's why this thing is here right now. You know, I mean, I can theorize about it just as good as anybody, but there's certain things that are very unsettling about this long cylindrical, I'm going to call it a craft rather than a rock. I think the artist wanted to depict it like a rock, but an enormous craft of some sort because of its ability to propel itself through the solar system, because it's awfully hard to explain that in nature or explain it in natural terms, how something could have acceleration capability in space, you know. And I'm not the only one who's theorizing about this, you know. Who's theorizing, oh, I think this is a real picture right here, maybe. I don't know if that's a real picture or not. Or it could be another artist's conception. Looks a little bit too clear to be a real picture. At any rate, I think that we should explore the idea that there is possibly, or very possibly, life beyond our solar system. And what form would that life take? Well, we're carbon-based life forms here. It could be something as exotic as silicon-based life forms. Would they even look like us? Or maybe their perceptions would be much greater than ours, so that they can perceive things that we can't perceive. Maybe they exist in some altered dimension of time and space, so that maybe we can't even see them. It's very difficult to really put a finger on it, you know. But suffice to say that I think probes are already here, possibly, because just not long ago the Pentagon announced, and they showed video footage of something they called the Tic Tac, which is putting this thing more in the realm of reality. When the military actually releases footage and they say, hey, this is real, you better sit up and pay attention. And they described the ability of this craft. I mean, it was up like, what was it, 40,000 feet or something? It dropped down to the sea level in like a second. Pa-ping, ping! It come down. And then it was able to zip. It was able to do what's called 0-point acceleration. And the thing had no wings. It had no exhaust. It had no holes in it. It was just a seamless thing that looked like a giant Tic Tac. I think they said it was like 40 feet long. So basically the size of a small house in suburbia, but with smooth skin all over it. This like, just looks like one piece molded, ginormous Tic Tac shape. You know, like a cylindrical, like a Tic Tac. But able to just go zip so fast your eyes couldn't even observe it, and not make any sound either, and not disturb the air, going past the speed of sound, but not making a crack of the sound barrier like airplanes do when they break through the sound barrier. Very unusual. Thank you guys for listening to my show. Like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode. Have a great afternoon. Bye-bye, guys.